What's going on, guys? It's Tanner with the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Today, I have my good friend Ryan Davis with the Davis Construction Marketing, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about, marketing. This guy knows his stuff, and I think marketing is this gray area for a lot of contractors because it's always changing. It's kind of like accounting, and I bring that up in our talk about how I went up to an accountant and I said, look, I don't understand accounting. I don't want to learn accounting. You do it for me. And ever since then, I've never had to worry about it. They take care of it, and it's really a luxury because I could focus on what I'm best at, what my skill set is. So we talk a little bit about that, but also I made sure that this wasn't just talking about someone else doing it for you. I really kind of probed Ryan on giving some insights on how you can implement some things for yourself. So this is a really good episode. Stick with it all the way through. He's got an awesome incentive for you at the end. If you really just want to fast forward, I guess you can, but it's a great incentive for you to get with him, talk with him about some of the marketing things that you might need in your business. But all in all, you're going to learn something in this episode. It's a great episode, so tune in. The big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right, they're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener, it's so much better, and that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Welcome, everybody, to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. I have my good friend Ryan Davis here. He's the head honcho at Davis Construction Marketing. He's a wealth of information and knowledge, all things marketing. And I figured it would be beneficial to really just grill him with a bunch of questions. So,
Hey, I'm happy to get grilled, man. So
yeah, I'm gonna fry you like a fish, man. So yeah, man. So let's get started. I want to let me kind of give you an idea of the majority of my audience. The people that I help, people I work with. I would say 50% of people are making the transition from hands-on to hands-off. Okay, so I know you probably work with a lot of guys that are hands-on to hands-off. It's a hard transition, right? Because they have 90% of their skill set is with their hands, and to not only that's just one of the big three, right? You have marketing, sales, and production. They're 90% production, and the 10% of sales, forget the marketing, 10% of sales is only estimating. It's not actually sales, right? So making that transition, trying to get out of that, we turn to people who can help us with marketing. That's why you're in business. Sometimes, I help some people with marketing. That's why I've been able to help. So we have a bunch of people that are get tossed into this world of marketing, get tossed in this, we get phone calls from everybody. You probably get phone calls from marketers, and you're a marketer. You don't know who to answer. You don't know who to talk to. You don't know what's going on. And what that does, it creates a bad stigma for marketers, and it makes you scared of them, makes you scared of leads. You think you're going to get taken advantage of. So tell me, what's the truth here, man? What should a contractor look for when it comes to marketing? And first I want you to tell me what system they should set up on their own, because we know that majority of people aren't going to hire somebody to do this. So let's start there, and then tell me what the benefit of bringing someone in to help you in your small business is going to do.
Yeah, man, those are great points, truthful points. And number one, man, love the new branding and the new hat, Dripjobs, love it,
yeah,
man. Yeah, man, it's a great logo, great everything. So I'm loving it, man. So we work with companies all across the country, and so there's guys doing multi-seven figures, guys that are doing maybe less than 500K a year,
right?
And so you get to see kind of those differences in kind of how do they run their office, how do they do their sales calls, do they do sales calls, how do they have processes in place for their production team. There's a big difference from hey, I'm doing 5-10 jobs a month, and I'm doing 40 jobs a month, and I got two crews or whatever. So it is kind of interesting to look at that. And I think if you are smaller and you don't really have 2, 3, 4, 5K to drop on marketing, you find yourself in a challenging spot. Number one, I would say something that has really worked for a lot of guys is hiring a salesperson. I mean, I think if you're running your business, you're doing everything yourself. You're making the phone calls, you're paying the bills, you're doing the bookkeeping, you're actually doing the jobs, you're doing the appointments, and maybe you have a helper. You need to hire somebody that can do the sales, because most likely you're a tradesman. You're not necessarily a businessman, and that's okay. And so what I've seen really work for guys is actually hiring a salesperson that you could potentially pay a commission to, that you could have him do the sales, or maybe you're really good at sales and that's what you want to do. And so maybe you would do more operations, more production. But you need, it's tough to do everything by yourself and scale. And so there has to be something and somebody in place to help you do that.
Let's break it down. You have got to identify what your strengths are as a business owner. And it's okay. Like, if you're that hands-on guy, hire somebody that's good at sales. Like for me, dude, I'm a 6 out of 10 painter, but when it comes to sales, that's my strength. So it's like, I'm going to find good painters to do painting, but it's tough when you're the painter. You have to become the project manager. That's going to be your role, because obviously, you're not going to be, hiring a salesperson just to keep you busy. That'd be really weird. There's not going to be much money for that guy. Like, you're still on that job, man. I got, so
you're going to be booked out 3 months, man.
Yeah. Like, you're going to be booked out 3 months. I can't sell anything else. So you can't obviously do that. But
right.
If your production, become a project manager. So let's get into the marketing. Now, does spending more money on leads automatically equate to more business?
Gosh, I wish, there's a lot of variables to it, as you know. I mean, the thing about marketing, first of all, I love marketing. Like, really all we're doing is putting something really cool in front of people's faces, and they're like, hey, I'm interested. And you're like, hey, I can do it. And it's just a really cool thing. Yeah. And if you grasp that perspective, it makes more sense. But, I'm a big believer in spending money to make money. I'm a big believer in that. I think typically, in home improvements, painting, roofing, specifically painting and maybe concrete coatings, it's a similar space. I would say the range is 5 to 10% of your gross revenue should be spent in marketing. That's what I see that's working. A lot of guys, when they're starting out, it tends to be a little bit higher because maybe they're spending more per lead than they need to be, and once things can get really optimized, your ad copy in a magazine, your radio ad, maybe you need to say something different. Once you optimize things, you can drive your cost down. But 5 to 10% of your gross revenue should be spent on marketing, in my eyes. So, if you want to make 30 grand a month, well, 5 to 10% of that needs to go to marketing. If you're doing 100K a month, most likely you're spending, 5 to 10% on marketing. And then if you break down that 5 to 10% of marketing kind of, breakdown, over 50% of that should be digital. I mean, a minimum over 50%.
Yeah.
And so if you, a lot of guys are spending 70 and 80% on digital. I co-own with my family and my older brother a concrete coating company here in the Phoenix Valley. Big believer in it, but there's also other things that can work. Magazines, like in really nice neighborhoods, radio can work. There's a lot of offline things that can work, but I do recommend 5 to 10% of your gross revenue in marketing and a minimum of 50% of that budget on digital.
So I have this thing where I talk about the employee mindset and the business owner mindset. So as an employee, you're taught to make the money, spend first, save the rest. As a business owner, you have to make the transition to spend and invest and then save. So you have to squeeze in, invest with getting, and that's hard to do because your whole life, unless you come from a business family, somebody that's taught you this early on, which many of us haven't. You have to work in that investment. So that's kind of where we have to get comfortable with like investing. And I learned that early on. I built my business off of Home Advisor, literally, because I was like, okay, I actually tried this because I come from a life insurance background where I was taught to go knock on doors, right? So I'm like, cool, I'm going to go knock on doors. I'm going to get people to buy paint jobs for me. I can sell anything, right? Dude, I parked in one neighborhood. I knocked on 8 doors. I didn't get answers on 5 of them. 3 people said they weren't interested. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. So I signed up for Home Advisor the next day, and the leads come to me. Okay. Now, one thing that obviously everyone needs to know is that there's 2 types of leads, and I want to get into this with you. There's leads that need interest to be generated. So that's probably what you do most. You generate interest out of people, which is obviously why leads are going to be a little cheaper than leads that are kind of handed to you on a hot plate ready to eat. So tell me what you do specifically. And again, being subjective here, because somebody, the idea, we're both givers, man. We want to give the knowledge, give the information. Obviously, we both know that anyone can do this if they apply it and they try it and they put together these things. So what are things that you do for contractors to generate interest to customers, random customers? How do you grab attention in the digital marketing space?
Yeah, that's a great point. There's definitely 2 levels. There's I look at it on a funnel base. There's top of the funnel, kind of middle of the funnel, and then there's bottom of the funnel leads. And it's kind of a lot like dating. When you go out with with the new date, she's beautiful. That's top of the funnel. You're not gonna you're gonna do everything you can to impress her, and and so forth. And then you move her down the funnel. Hey, maybe you get married, so you're bottom of the funnel, right? But that's my little analogy. So, this all started, I was working for a multi-million-dollar painting contractor in Bakersfield, California. And we were doing radio ads, billboards, magazines, home shows, everything you name it offline. I think he was doing a little bit of SEO on his website, but that was it. And so they wanted to really take it to the next level and get more crews and so forth. And so they looked at me because at that time I was 25, I think. And they're like, "You're the youngest guy here."
Figure it out.
Figure it out. And so, I did get a little bit of help, but we started running Facebook ads. And with Facebook ads, you typically, like, if you're just running ads to like a wide net, you're going to get top of the funnel. You're going to get people that are interested because you might broadcast a before and after of, exterior of a home, cabinet refinishing and so forth. People want to know, how much does it cost? Hey, what did you do? What products did you use? Hey, what warranty do you have? They're top of the funnel. And so, if you have a really good process for calling those leads within 5 minutes, maybe some automations that Tanner offers, maybe something where you can have a process when somebody's interested, what do I do next?
Capitalizing on the interest when they're interested.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's kind of like when you're walking in the mall and that person comes up to you with the magic thing that makes your nails smooth, and they say, wait, come here. And before you leave, he says, wait, listen, before you go, like you're capitalizing on the interest, the look, the look.
Yeah.
It's capitalizing on the interest. And I think that's important. So we talk about capitalizing on the interest. When it comes to generating leads for people, what have you found is the most difficult contractors to work with?
Man, so that is a broad question. And for me, I was taught about just in-home sales. That there's people that don't believe in the in-home sales thing as much. I know you're doing virtual.
Yeah. Well, I was all about in-home sales before COVID.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. That's a good point.
Adjustment. I was, and I know that the ratio is going to be higher because you're reading, you're building, the rapport. So continue. I'm following.
But sure. I just believe either do an in-home sales presentation. I'm all about that. Or do a virtual, like an actual virtual estimate, not like a ballpark. Like if you're going to do an estimate, like actually put together a proposal, maybe call them right away and try to facilitate it instead of, hey, it'll be between
So
Yes.
those are the most difficult contracts.
Yes, 1000%. Like either like if you're having a virtual estimate, have a virtual estimate. Like do it in a professional manner.
Professional manner. I mean, jump on, if you want to take it to that level, jump on Zoom, FaceTime, something to try to like convert the lead instead of like, and these are just old habits, I think, that need to be broken. A lot of these guys haven't had to sell or quote unquote die in the, I mean, I've worked car sales. If you don't sell it, you don't really eat. You're still using last month's commission and
That's
throwing
right.
it out. So a lot of people don't know that like sales is kind of like a chase. You have to, a chase. I followed up with a lady today that at one point wasn't going to go with us, but because of some of the questions and the way that I answered it, it's looking like she's going to hire us. And once you see it work, like you're like, oh, okay, cool. And it's the same every single time. You just, as a law of averages. So
well, that's a job dripping, man. That's a job dripping right there.
That's a job dripping right there. I mean, follow-ups, man.
Yeah.
So if those are the worst type of contractors, the best type of contractor is one that actually invest in the sales process for you.
1000%, man. It's using everything at our fingertips at its capacity. CRMs, automations, and really like, what are you willing to do to like be better than your competition? Because I can tell you this: whatever market you're in, there's somebody that's doing their job really well. Like they've got an amazing, office lady who knows how to just schedule appointments and build value. There's somebody in your market that's doing that. Okay. There's somebody that does work really well. They have a really good production staff. There's somebody in your market that has a good marketer. There's somebody in your market that has a good salesperson. So you're up against a tall wall. So if you're not willing to do what they're willing to do and then some, you're going to get crushed, man.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? It's like everyone should either, it's like you're like a consultant essentially, like in terms of marketing, like anyone that, and this is a question, I do these business breakthroughs, right? And one of the questions I had, I forget who I was talking to. I said, look, dude, if you have 4 guys and right now I took all your jobs off the schedule, okay? And you had no work for Monday, what's the first thing you would do? First of all, there was a long pause because there was no plan. There was nothing. I mean, it was like, I'd probably go to the paint store. That to me says that you have no business ammo, right? You're in the bunker with nothing. And then when you hire somebody like you, your only focus is to get leads for people. It's like that's it. Like so, it's like even if you were to charge, let's say this is extremely high, $5,000 a month, right? Right. If you can't deliver somebody a lead in this space, painting wise or concrete coating, that at least generates $5,000 in a month's time, then you shouldn't be in business. You know that.
That's right.
So that's the sale that you have to make. It's like, look, you spend this much, obviously I'm going to get you a break-even point. And then what's going to keep you around is how well I do in excess of that break-even point to where you can justify this expense every single month. Number one, so you don't have to spend your energy, time, and resources on trying to figure out what I do every single day that you're only going to be able to spend 10% of your time on doing by yourself. And more importantly, you're going to be able to focus on the other aspects of your business that are going to help you get even better results, like sales, and then create happier customers because you're focusing on production. And that same principle is what I was applied to. My accountant sold me on paying really high amount for their service. They're like, Tanner, this is all we do. You don't have to worry about it. I said, you know what? You're right. I don't. And I don't want to. I hate accounting. I hate it. And then with the crazy like changes they make in legislature, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and read through that. I don't want to know. You just tell me what I owe and I'll pay it. Same deal with like a consultant like you. So it's like, it's hard because there's a lot of soreness. And part of the reason why I decided to bring you on is I want people to hear you because like, hey, I know this kid, Ryan, man, he does a great job, and then it's like, yeah, I don't really know, but I have a good amount of people on here that need help in this area. And those of you that are listening, I am the guy that likes to create the systems to connect the marketing to you, to allow you to utilize automations. I'm like the technological part of it. And that's why Ryan and I get along because, I see the value in what he's doing. He sees the value in what I'm doing. And there's so many people that need help. What's one advice, and I don't mean to drift off, like what's one advice, one piece of advice, one strategy that you would tell somebody who is in the position of the guy who doesn't have any like, I'm just saying, any work for the next week, needs something right now? What's a strategy he can implement?
Man, that is a good question. Anything really, like you do. So you got to do whatever it takes, really. What you could do for free, really, or for super low cost, is you could create a Facebook page. And this is just my mind. This is what I would do first. I would create a Facebook page if I don't already have one. I would put some before and afters of my work on a post, and I would boost that post for $5 a day. I mean, think about it. What is that going to cost you? Like, not that much money.
30.
That's what I would do, and I bet you can get one job from that, or at least somebody that sends you a message. Hey, how much for, how much to paint my cabinets?
Yeah.
And then when you get to that job, I would bring flyers with you, and I would door knock every single job around, or every single door around that house. Say, hey, I just did this job. Come take a look. Here's my flyer. I got a Black Friday special if you move forward before November 30th.
Wow. So, it sounds great, but it's just a matter of actually putting in the action. And like what it comes down to is like, I talked to somebody earlier today. It was like, the problem is, if you don't have a solid marketing structure, you take on anything because you feel scarce in that area. And when you feel scarce in business, there's no predictability. When there's no predictability, there's no systems. When there's no systems, there's no, there's just a lack of, like, it's just chaos in a business. So the marketing, I would say, is like the brains of the whole business. The sales is the heartbeat, and then the production is the body. Like, all these things got to be working together in order to have it happen. And I truly believe that everyone should be outsourcing their marketing, whether it is through Home Advisor or whether it's through somebody who knows what they're doing. There's three aspects. You have SEO, which is your organic. That's going to be your map pack. It's going to be, your organic listing, stuff like that. Then you got your paid ads, Facebook, Google, and then you have your lead gen. These all three should be used in unison.
Yeah.
And I believe that you help with all three of those, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a good point. So, like, a lot of people talk about Home Advisor this, it sucks, and this, all these things. I mean, if you don't have any other option, I mean, like, just do whatever you got to do, get some revenue going. I mean, shoot, like, take out a loan, get a credit card, like, figure it out, and I know Tanner has kind of like a one-time offer. I think that you can purchase a program from him that's not necessarily, a monthly thing, but it's like a one-time thing that could really probably get you. I mean, I'm not sure what.
So we just spark you up on Facebook. Essentially, like, we get the post going for you, and you just boost it once we're done. It's pretty simple. We set up, a Facebook bot, and really it just makes it pretty easy for you to at least get going on your own. So, the resources are there. It's just, this stuff's a lot of this is foreign. There's still contractors out there with no website. There's still guys with no Facebook. Like, and it's changed, and business changes. Every industry changes. I think I saw a post on Instagram. It was the last Blockbuster in the world, and it's in Oregon. See that?
Yeah. Man, Blockbuster was the thing, man.
Dude, I remember going there. I loved it.
Like, oh yeah.
Played some with my dad. Friday movies. It was packed.
Oh yeah.
It was awesome, man. And then next thing you know, these little red boxes pop up outside of gas stations, and what happened with Blockbuster? I'll be honest with you. Could they have found a way to get those boxes where Redbox popped up? Absolutely. I'm sure they actually had an opportunity to buy Netflix. Is that true? I think you think that's true. Do you know?
I don't know, but I know that they were by every grocery store, so they could have easily, figured something out and put a box out front.
But the problem is, and this is where we're getting with this, is they didn't change.
That's right.
They didn't adjust. They didn't move. They didn't do anything. So they have a little hot spot in Oregon where they are proudly advertising that it's the last Blockbuster. How embarrassing. Okay.
That's right.
Dude, you had 9,000 locations. What are you celebrating? So,
and they made money off of you forgetting to bring it back. So,
Yeah. Like, I know. I mean, what a crazy business. But anyway, man, that's where we're getting at. I know that we're both pretty busy, so I don't want this to drag on too much longer, but I think it'd be great to jump on with you again. You could be our marketing celebrity that comes here and drops some knowledge bombs on our awesome audience, man. So I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
And real quick, if anybody wants to jump in with, with your service, what's the website?
So the website is coding, like floor coding, codingandpaintingleads.com.
Codingandpaintingleads.com. Codingandpaintingleads.com. Right there. So that's head over, and Ryan will take care of you. Tell him that you've heard this from the Contractor Secrets podcast. I'm sure he'll swing something for you.
If you guys reach out and mention, I don't know, Dripjobs, Tanner, something like that, Florida, then we're going to give you guys a discount for sure. Yeah.
Painting. There you go.
Painting, something like that.
Painting.
And how about this? Oh, this is sweet. Our first month, when you hire us, we have like a first month kind of fee. And it ranges because we do a lot. There's websites, there's SEO, there's Google Maps optimization and Facebook ads and Instagram. There's a lot of these different things. So it's not like a one size fit all thing. We'll give you 20% off the first month fee. So sometimes the first month fee is, $2,000 or $3,000. If you're a multi-million-dollar company, you're probably going to take a larger package, which could be $3,000 for your first month. We'll give you 20% off whatever you sign up with.
Nice. That's a sweet deal. And so if you get somebody that doesn't have, it's not on Google, not on anything, you're going to set all that stuff up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have teams in-house that just a bunch of nerds, if you will, we're just back here just making stuff happen.
Cooking, man. Cooking. Connecting supply and demand, dude.
That's right.
You're like what's that thing that connects electricity? A capacitor. I don't know.
Thomas Edison. No.
I love it, man. Well, thanks for your.
Hey, I just want to take a second to thank you for joining me here on the Contractor Secrets podcast. I'm just going to take this opportunity to let you know that my passion is coaching people, helping people. I've changed my Instagram name to @contractorcoach, and I did that because that is my passion. I want to help you. So please reach out to me. If you have an issue going on in your business, send me an email. Find me on Instagram, message me, and let's do a breakthrough session. I want to work through your problems in your business to help you get to that next level. And one thing that I always say is this, the difference between those that get over the humps and the hurdles in business is just a change in perspective. And that's what I plan to offer you. So get with me, message me, allow me to help you take your business to the next level.